welcome everyone to our class in Darkei HaTalmud. We're really at the end of the Sefer. Now, at the end of the Sefer, the Kanton is going to explain to us the basic operating words of debate. And we said this is this method that's outlined in Darkei Gemara, Darkei Talmud, is more based on language than on abstraction of logical terms. Okay, it's much more involved in the natural language of the Gemara. What he's trying to do is, for instance, here, to look at the various key words that indicate a switching debate, and it's very when you're aware of it. So then, even if you don't know the content of what you're reading, you already understand that this Kash is coming up, or something unclear is being investigated, or there's a contradiction between Reish and Sefer. So when you have this vocabulary and you see it as you're reading, so it again brings a conscious level of your learning, so that you're not just fuzzy in your understanding of Gemara, but it brings a focus to exactly what's going on, and you can understand and teach better. As I mentioned before, some people think that Gemara is confusing. Well, it is confusing because it's speaking to a person who is involved, speaking to Chachamim. So if you're not aware of the systems that are being used, so then it can be very confusing. But what this Kanton has done here is try to analyze the fundaments of the debate, or the back and forth in the Gemara, and bring it to us in a systematic way. So now what we're dealing with here is a group of terms. There's 24 terms, and this are the key words that indicate forms of debate, let's put it that way, okay, whether they're kashas or... Now, in order to clarify that, last time we met, I just presented it, and I could get a few minutes there, but it doesn't matter. The point I was trying to do is we have to realize that there's always a person who is presenting some information. We'll call him a proponent. Okay, and there's a person who's attacking that. Now that's the opponent. Okay, and you have to be clear, as it's mentioned in the Sefer itself, who and what is being proposed, and who and why is the objection being raised. These words are indicators of what type of objections are being raised. Okay, and also these words can sometimes exist in the middle of what we call a shaklatari. Okay, so what he tried to do here in defining these 24 terms is to key us in of what these words mean. Okay, now let's see. That's why I kept over here when I went through it. I tried to break everything down to opponents and proponents and opponents, and to also begin to describe what stage of the argument are these terms being used. Okay, for instance, an ihachi, right, means, okay, if you say that, which means there is already a proposal, a proponent, there is already an opponent bringing a kasha, there's already a teretz, and on that teretz someone says ihachi. Well, if that's what you're saying, or that's what you're going to mitaretz, then you fell into another problem. So you have to know that ihachi is going to be in what, stage 4 of that discussion. Okay, so let's see if we can remember where we left off over here. Okay, let's see where we left off. I remember we did Manav Shach, we did Elavadai, okay, Elamai, Elo Te Mahachi. You remember we did Hiboy Sema?
Remember where we got up to in this.
Yeah. I meant to. I know you gave me the other indicator. But I forgot to.
We've gone back a week or two.
Okay, let's go from here. We'll start from here and maybe repeat a few of them. But let's go. He says we'll take it from this one. I know we did. Oh, LMI Yisrachamema we said, right? We said, okay. Oh, that's where I started to break it up. Okay, well, we'll start from my LMI Yisrachamema. Okay. LMI Yisrachamema, okay. But what do you have to say? Or what would you say? So he says like this. Hu kasher hamanagi. The managi is what we're going to call the opponent. Bol hachrich darto. So the person who's saying Elamai Yisrachamema is the menaged, the opponent. Mitzad shemakshel lechavaro, the proponent, mamar acher. He's going to bring an external source that's going to be difficult to the proponent, right? And he's going to say, the opponent's going to say, who may be right. So I'm going to force you, the proponent, into retracting, because I'm going to bring you a statement that the only way you can explain it is going to destroy your whole argument. Okay? So the proponent says, V'omalo elamai isachamema. The opponent says, look, I'm in good shape over here, okay, but I can explain this text according to my shita. But according to you, what are you going to say? Chasam ba'osam mamar inyan, that particular statement that I'm bringing. Beherchak, you're going to have to agree with me, you, the proponent, lo mamashani omer, because there's no other way to explain it, so you're going to have to agree with me. So now that you have to agree with me with this external text, because there's no other way to explain it, so now I'll say, so now you're going to have to agree with me with the text that we're talking about. Okay? So basically we're talking about text A, and you have a proponent and an opponent. The opponent now brings text B and says, well, to me, text B works out very nice according to my shita, but according to you, what are you going to say? You're going to have to say in text B what I was saying, and therefore, text A, you're going to have to agree with me also. Okay? So let's see if we can get a little example of that. Okay. Again, these type of things have to be gone over a few times, but basically that's what it is. You bring an external text which your opponent is forced to agree with, and that will then impact on the text that you're talking about. So let's see if we can get an example of this in Rapakama. Well, okay, we have like this. Esave Abaya Rava. So we have a debate between Abaya and Rava, and Abaya is going to ask Rava the following. He's going to bring the following objection. Korbano below go. So the question is, can you bring korban from something that is stolen? So it says korbano, you have to bring your korban. So Abaya says, what is your korban? It means not a korban that's stolen. So he says, hechinami. Oh, because they're arguing about yesh. Let's see. Hechinami. Now, that's a text we all agree that korbano means you have to bring yours. So hechinami, we said, it's not clear what the circumstances are. We're now going to have to expel them out. Ilemam lifnei yeush. If we're going to say that the korban that you're bringing, the original owner did not miyayesh, lamali kro, peshita. Well, it's obviously stolen. Okay, so you can't say that korbano is talking about. Is coming to tell us you can't take a stolen object before yesh, because that's obvious. You don't need a pasuk to tell you that. Elalav la'acher yesh mamine yesh lo kona. So it must be that the stolen object was stolen, and the original Baal was miyayesh. She gave up hope of ever finding it, and the fact that you can't bring it is because Yeush is not Kona. In other words, they're arguing about whether the Baal gives up hope of it. Yeah, Yesh Lomidas. Whether the Baal gives up hope recovering his item does become hefker, and then anyone who takes it or the person who stole it acquires it. Okay, yesh lo midas habi yesh not, right? So here, what's the purpose here? So he wants to show that yesh lo midas is not yesh. That's a biased proof, right?
Right.
Because this has to be talking about yesh lo midas. Because if it's yesh midas, so then he knows it's gone. Excuse me, just the opposite. Sorry. No. Okay. If it's before yesh, right? I'm sorry. If it's yesh lo midas, so then he's talking about yesh midas.
So maybe right. So
so lam likro, it's b'shita, right? If it's before yesh, the Baal never gave up hope of getting it back, so it's his. So it's obviously a stolen object. So it has to be talking about, he says, acher yesh. And here's my proof that yesh lo midas, excuse me, yesh midas here, it's going acher yesh, still does not kona, right? So we're talking about the Baal, this is yesh midas. He wants me to write that yesh midas is not kona.
right.
Okay, very good. So now, that was the attack. The attack was from Korbanot. So, Omalei Rava. Now here is Rava's defense. He says, Ulatamech, wait a minute. According to your reasoning, what are we going to do with the following brisa? What does the brisa say? It says, Mishkavo v'lo gozo. Okay. Remember what Mishkavo was?
Mishkava is referring to tumas. It's referring to the tumas medris or tumas b'zav.
Tumas medris. Very good. So, which means that if
so it says mishkavo, he can only be mitami his own mishkav, right, and not one that's stolen. So we have the same question. The Gazel Amra. He stole a cloth.
He stole the wool, and he made it into a mishkav. So that's called a shinui maisa. He took the wool and he made it into a blanket. So that's obviously kana, right? So that's obviously his, and then therefore it would be matameh, mitras, right?
Right. So what would you say for the
So what are you forced to say? Right? The gazel mishkav lechavrei. He stole the blanket of his friend,
which was already a mishkav, and he doesn't have to make any.
Why does it help he stole a blanket? In other words,
no, because he already was a mishkav. He doesn't have to make a shina maisa to it.
Exactly, but what's the point here?
So the point is that now the brisa that says mishkavai v'leha gazel is telling you that a gazel does not become tummy. So what's the case? It must be that he stole already existing mishkav, and that the din is that it's not become tummy. Now the question is, what are we talking about? Are we talking about lefnei yish? Are we talking about lacha yish? That's going to be the next page.
So he says, "This is halamema the gazel mishkav chavaro." Achinami the gazel korban chavaro. So he says, he says it must be that we're talking about that he stole the mishkav of his friend, and therefore korbano is when he stole the korban of his friend.
In other words, there was no yish.
The gazel korbano the chavrei, and there was
no yish.
There was no yish. Exactly.
So therefore, the question that we had, if you scroll back up, that Abaye had to Rava, and he said, this is Korban Evleha Gazel, and he's bringing a raya that it has to be talking about Lacha Yish. So we're saying, no, it could be talking about Lefnei Yish. I think that's the
yes, no, that's the upshot. Okay. So what he did was he brought the text of this brisa, and he forced Abaye to agree with him that this is an unusual case, right, where he's going to, he might exactly, must be talking about before years, right? Okay, and then since this is talking about the Gazel Korban of Chaveros, and then we have to be talking about in the case above also when there was Yush, when it says Korbano and not not of your friend. It's also talking about before Yesh. So here is the play. What Rava tried to do, of course, the Hepshech of Gemara, we don't stop in the middle. But what you try to do is force yourself to, you force your opponent to accept your position by showing him an alternative text where he has to force, where he's forced to accept your position. And since he's forced to accept your position in the eternal text, that now impacts on the text that we're talking about. That's the system. Okay, let's try Elamai. Elamai, who korav liminzeh, says Elamai is very similar to what we just did. Ohini avo kasher hiksha hamaksher keneged perish chavaro b'mama ma o mishnah. Here what happens is what? The opponent attacks the proponent's explanation of something. The opponent explains something in the text, and the opponent he says, Hine yavo kasher hiksha hamaksha, the opponent has a kasha, keneged pirish chavaro. His friend gives a parish of a pasuk or a mishnah. The opponent says, I'm going to fight you. That's not the right parish, okay? Whether it's a mishnah, or whether it's a mama of mora, it doesn't really matter. O keneged inyan shomachara, or it doesn't have to be a text, it could be a concept that his friend holds. Occasional midas or whatever. V'hine hu sholel also min amamrahu. The opponent now is going to say that interpretation cannot be. As omru lo hamaksha. So now here the proponent comes back and says, very good, you knocked out my explanation of the text. Ve'elamahu perisho. But now you have no explanation. Okay, v'hu ka'omer ki behechrach hareikus. So the opponent says, because we're going to discuss this term already, because for Hekesh Harekus, we explain in 1 second, you're forced to say what I say. So in other words, let's get the scenario again. The scenario is that Mr. A proposes, the proponent proposes an explanation of a text. His opponent knocks out that explanation. So he comes back to him and says, well, LMI is not what I'm saying, so produce an alternative. If you can't produce an alternative, then my alternative is the only way to explain it. So that's called Hekesh Harekus. Hekesh Harekus means it's either A or B. If you have no other alternative, my alternativity is the same as yours. That's when people. Okay, but the point is, if you have no alternative, then you have to accept my argument, even though it may be doch, okay, or you may have a problem. Okay, so that's LMI means very good. You knocked out my interpretation, LMI, but what does it mean? You can't say it means nothing. So what I said may be doch. Remember, he told me not something to talk about, but he must have asked a very strong kasha. Okay, so that's LMI. LMI means it's not what I'm saying. So what is it? You can't come up with a better alternative. So my alternative is the best explanation. Okay. The lotem mahachi, that if you don't say this, right? The lotem, if you don't say what I'm, in other words, I'm here to show, I give an explanation, and now I say I'm going to show you the explanation has to be true. Why? Because the opposite is not going to work. Hu kasher hadava eno muchlach mitzad atzmo. When you're talking about something that is not self-evident, ubo lahachriach also mitzad hefcho sosro, because Baruch Hashem, this book's a sacred area, not that too much we know he's talking about. So now the proponent is going to prove his statement, because he's going to show that the opposite or the alternative is false. Interesting statement. This works because of the rule that truth is only made apparent by investigating the opposite. Which is what we learned as an indirect proof. Okay, so sometimes you can't prove something directly, but if I can't prove that A is B, but if is true, I have no pasuk, I have no statement, but I can prove that A is not B is false. And since A is not B is the opposite of A is B, from the rules of opposites, if the opposite is false, then what I'm saying is true. So that's called the indirect proof that we've spoken about, and the key word, the ilotema. I'm going to prove that what I'm saying is true, because if you don't say it, you say the alternative, the opposite, you'll end up to a false conclusion. Okay? And we've done that sometimes. Here comes another one, the e-boy is saying. And if you need, I will say. Okay. When there's a weakness in the first teretz, and the person who is proposing this teretz gives an alternative teretz. Okay, that's the first scenario. V'chein hu b'lashon v'omer. Okay, I should have quoted, I think, comma. Also, when you see the lashon v'omer, okay, in a brisa, they use it quite a lot. In other words, they give one teretz and they say v'omer. That's a key word. Ve'ein lomar im kain malitoch al atzmo lishtoch mikol kama o miteretz kama v'yomer hasheni. So now I have a kasha. Why do I need two teretzim? If already the first teretz is weak, so drop the first teretz, right? Lishtoch mikol kama o miteretz kama v'yomer hasheni. If you're going to give me two terutzim, and the first one is weak, and that's why I had to come on to the second teretz, so drop the first one, right? It's logical. So he says, don't ask that, kasha. Why? Maybe there is a tzad, second one, that is better than the first one, but maybe there's a tzad in the first one that's better than the second one. So when you see a ibois ema, you have to know that each teretz has an advantage and disadvantage. Okay. Leanetter, I will, if I remember, Leanetter, I will bring this beautiful example of this and we'll discuss it. But this is a very important thing. We just don't give terutzim to not terutzim, because the kasha is, look, give me a stronger shot, and that's it. So he's forced to say that whenever you see multiple terutzim, so it has to be that each one has a strong point over the other one. Okay, that each one has a certain advantage and a disadvantage. Okay, that's two. V'chein k'she'omar inami. Another key word, of course, is inami, alternatively. Hu k'sheyesh chulsha b'tam harishon. But here, it's not the teretz rishon, it's the tam. The reasoning is weak. V'hatam ki b'vadei lo bo hasheni mitzad sheni. And the reason why we say that the first one has to have a weakness, because if there's not a weakness in the first one, you don't want the second. Okay. He says, "Oh, efsher ki tov mishnayim echad." That's an interesting phrase. What does it mean, tov mishnayim echad? It means that two are better than one. Why is it? If you tell me and has a strong point, the second one is weak, but it has a strong point. So what do you mean two is better than one? Why is two better than one? They both have a weakness, both have a strong point. So what would you say? No. So what would you say?
I don't know. I guess, since each one is not sufficiently answering it together, you could get a.
How do two crippled men? How do crippled?
Yeah, I know.
Make
Right.
a better example.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to think about that, but that's what he says. Okay, remember the famous midrash that the neshama and the goof come to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and they say, well, the goof says it's not my fault because he showed me the way, and the neshama is not my fault because he had to do the ma'isa, right? So they say, well, him shulchan mashal. Okay, this is like there was two showmen, one was blind and one couldn't walk, and the Baal came around and saw that there was the peros were stolen. So the blind one said, wait a minute, I couldn't see the thief, and the guy that couldn't walk said, well, I couldn't run after him. So the Balabayas put the blind man on top of the guy that could walk on top of the blind man, couldn't walk on top of the blind man, he punished both. Okay. Example of two is better than one. You get it?
Yep.
Baruch Hashem. Anyway, okay, we'll stop here.
Okay.
I'll try to, again, I'll try to get more some of my examples over there. If unfortunately, I have to mark the text all the time, and you know we're left over. We had a gigantic break.
Right.
Okay, great. Have a wonderful, wonderful Vintisman, as they say.
Right. That's right. Rosh Chodesh is coming. Rosh Chodesh.
And we're coming, Baruch Hashem, we're coming close to the end of this Sefer too, and then what I really want to do is do a real Iyun piece with you.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
And Bezrat Hashem, we'll take these principles and we'll start really, refer back to them, apply them, and then Bezrat Hashem, our learning will become more conscious and more unfuzzy, as we say. Okay?
Very good. Yep.
Okay, have a great day.
You too. Okay, thank you. Okay, bye.